greenteaguru.co.uk offers green tea, white tea, black tea, oolong tea, and we absolutely love Puerh tea with offerings of Misty Peaks, Yunnan sourcing, Munghai, and Shaguan. We regularly visit Hong Kong and Guangdong, sourcing out very interesting and special cakes for your tea table. Green Tea Guru, based in UK with worldwide delivery. Guys, hello again and welcome. It's Ollie from greenteaguru.co.uk. Today is the last, but no means least, tasting of our 4 Puerh releases. This one is Urban Sunrise. Let's take a quick look. In case you haven't got it yet, this is supposed to be a depiction of a sunrise in urban areas, the Urban Sunrise cake. All these cakes were airbrushed by myself personally using food grade paint. If you do order a full cake, you'll get a numbered cake. All the cakes are numbered. This one is number 1. If you specify a particular number, please let me know in the comments on your order, and I'll try and get it to you if it's available. Let's have a closer look at the leaves. Again, this is a Gushu cake. This is actually an autumn Gushu from Yibang area, a small village called Gong. Yibang is in the Yule area of Ishuanbana. As with all the cakes in this release, every single cake is pressed by hand, no mechanical means at all used to press these cakes. So I'm going to break off just enough for a tasting. 5 to 7 grams. I really don't weigh the tea. What happens, happens. Every tea session's different. And some people really go quite far down the track of trying to analyse everything and almost scientifically. But I kind of just enjoy letting it happen the way it's going to happen. Sometimes you get good tea sessions, sometimes you get off tea sessions. And I just use everything and do everything instinctively. And that's the way I like to do it. But, each their own, Now this particular tea is coming off really nicely. Some very big strands here. Look at that. Nice big strands, I like that. Rolling kettle. Let's throw this straight in the guy one. I'm still buzzing from that Mr. Bumble that I tasted only about 10 minutes ago, the last video you just saw. That was a big tea. That was a big tea. Insanely powerful. I think, once bitten, twice shy. I'm gonna retract that a little bit. I think that'll be enough. It's kind of how I remember it. This is a 2015 year. It smells very bright. That lovely sweetness, coupled with some nice sort of floral aroma. The floral aroma sinks away, giving into that lovely sort of deep sweetness. I think the most important time to experience the aroma is just off the first rinse. That's when the tea's really opened up everything in terms of the aroma. First infusion. Now, this is an autumn tea, autumn 2015. Even though this tea is about 6 months older than the Mr. Bumble we tried in the last episode, the liquor is less dark. So just really, it's the tea's looking fairly thin. I wouldn't suggest. I mean, this is a very deep Gaiwan, but I wouldn't suggest this is a bright yellow. It's not even going in. It's not even going into a turning yellow yet. It's just a sort of dark yellow. It actually looks a bit more dark on camera than it does in real life. So first infusion. So this is the third Gushu that we're tasting from the Puerh release that I'm doing this week. All these Gushu teas, they take a while to open up. You know, staggers through the infusion. I mean, that's what Puerh tea's like normally, but you won't notice its full breadth until the third infusion. So what am I getting right now on this first infusion? Well, it's very thick. The texture is very thin. The consistency is fairly thin as well. Not overly thin. It's whereas Mr. Bumble was very tonic water effect texture. This one has a little nod towards that. So it is kind of tonic watery, but nowhere near as expansive as Mr. Bumble is in that department. But you kind of get a sense of it, which is a mark of a great tea. Bitterness levels, nowhere near as big and at some points overwhelming as Mr. Bumble. It's there, it's low. We're talking sort of 2.5 out of 10 at the moment on this first infusion. You get a slight wisp of sweetness on the end. Very minor. I can already sense a slight floral aftertaste coming through. Some of these Gushus, the aftertaste might only appear maybe 20-30 seconds after you've taken your last sip. You might be, don't sort of write a tea off straight away. Some of these ones, it's not like an instant aftertaste. It does take sometimes sort of 20 seconds to develop in your mouth before you notice it. Yeah, a floral aftertaste, which, you know, to appear on the first infusion is quite good. But really, as you know, for a first infusion, I'm pretty impressed. All right, so we're doing infusion number 2. As in a lot of cases, off camera, I was sipping the last few sips of the first infusion. The tea really had time to lower its temperature. Leave that a little bit longer. To lower its temperature a bit. You tend to get more notes out of teas when the temperature's lower. The aftertaste on the first infusion, when the temperature's lower, is more pronounced. The sweetness came a little bit more to the forefront. Yeah, even better than I thought. Very good. All right, infusion number 2. Okay, so the bitterness has lifted somewhat, still fairly low. I'd say it's probably a 3 out of 10. It's an autumn number. Spring tea will really bring out much more bitterness. But no, I mean, this is down still about, well, it's gone up since the first infusion. This is probably hitting about 3 out of 10. That tonic water texture hasn't improved, hasn't gone down. It's still kind of where it is. So slight tonic water, quite bubbly. The aftertaste has improved slightly. It's got a bit, you know, it's still more floral. It's probably enhanced by around about 20%, so not a massive margin. But with all these Gushu, really, it's the third infusion where it really sort of opens up. So not a massive difference, slight changes. But I've got a feeling this tea will tell its story on the third infusion. Loving these leaves. Let's do the third infusion. I'm going to push the boat out a little bit with this one. Last infusion was quite, you know, I didn't leave it very long. You know, I probably gave it 5 seconds. I'll give it about 8 to 10. That aftertaste is still with me, it's still on the palate, still lingering. You don't need a really good tea, expensive tea, to have some of these really long aftertastes. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't an extremely expensive one. There was a tea that I tried probably about a couple of years ago, and I remember just drinking the tea, knocking it back, and getting in my car and driving off a little bit later. Like 20 minutes later, I can still sort of taste this aftertaste in my palate. An element of sweetness is really popping through now. This layer of sweetness, it starts and then in the mid palate, and then sort of carries on subtly in an aftertaste. It's washed away. That's quite weird. Lovely. In the third infusion, you've got this subtle sweetness, comes and goes, and then turns up again in the in the aftertaste. So it sort of comes, goes, and comes back again. That's lovely. You really do need to be drinking this tea probably around about 80C, around that. Don't sort of do the infusion and then start sipping it straight away. First you'll burn your mouth, but you know what I mean. You need to let it sit for a while to get this. Almost quite vegetative as well. Floral, vegetative kind of aftertaste with that sweetness. But over the infusions, everything's been lifted up slowly, slowly, slowly. But on the third infusion, this sweetness that's hitting the middle palate is so much more apparent. It really wasn't there in the last few infusions. Good tea. Even though I pushed this one a little bit longer, so I probably did around about a 10-second infusion. The bitterness hasn't really gone up at any stage at all. It's sitting around 3. So the first infusion, 2, 2.5. Then it rose up to about 3 out of 10 on the second infusion. The third infusion still staying around about 3. It's hanging a bit. Sort of fuzzy. Sort of a can you visualize that? Sort of a fuzzy kind of bitterness. But the bitterness hangs after about 5-10 seconds. It turns into this sweetness. A very good tea right now. This is actually the cheapest of the Gushu that I'm selling. This one comes in at $49.50 for 200 grams. Very slippery texture still. So guys, if you want to try the Urban Sunrise, you can find it at greenteaguru.co.uk. The link in the description. As always guys, thank you so much for stopping by. If you're feeling very nice, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you on our next tea time. Happy cupping guys.